Now, for more on this, we are being joined by Peter Kuznick, who is a professor of history and director of the Nuclear Studies Institute at the American University. Peter Kuznick is joining us live from Washington, D.C. Peter Kuznick, is Israel's Rafah operation inevitable in spite of Israeli Foreign Minister Katz putting out a condition to suspend the Rafah offensive?
The negotiations have been going on for a while. It's clear that the extremists in the Israeli cabinet are pushing for an invasion. They're not looking for diplomacy. They think that they can wipe out Hamas, and they want a military solution. There are others in the region, including the moderate Arab states and leaders, who are very much pushing for Israel to get out, to release the hostages, and to come to a ceasefire. But the prospects are pretty dim that that would happen. And it looks like Israel is definitely preparing for the full-scale invasion of Rafah.
Peter Kuznick, also Blinken will be heading to Saudi Arabia for the Gaza talks. Do you think it will change the course of the situation?
So far, U.S. efforts have been futile. Biden has been putting pressure on Netanyahu. Blinken has been putting pressure. It's done nothing. Blinken is not a very effective Secretary of State. His efforts in China recently were not successful. And I don't know if you look at diplomacy, the little bit of diplomacy that's going on now internationally by the United States has not been succeeding over Taiwan, over Ukraine, over Gaza. So I'm not optimistic, unfortunately. I'm holding my breath, as is the rest of the world, hoping that somehow we can avoid a full-scale Israeli invasion. What's going on inside Gaza, as you see in the United States in these protests that are sweeping the country, sweeping almost every major campus in the United States, is that young people are seeing these images and they're horrified. And the thought that the United States is providing 70% of the weapons exports to Israel to most young Americans is really anathema, unconscionable, and unforgivable.
Yes, we are monitoring closely the protests in the United States. Also, let's talk about the mediation efforts here. How do you view Egypt's role in this entire scenario?
Well, Egypt clearly does not want the Palestinians to come into Egypt, especially the Gazans. Rafah is right on the Egyptian border. Rafah is the gateway that most of the aid trucks have been coming through to try to keep people from starving in Gaza. So Egypt is in a difficult position. There are reports that I'm hearing that the Egyptian military is very frustrated with al-Sisi and his lack of action. And there are some concerns that I've been hearing that if Israel does invade, there are elements in the Egyptian military that perhaps want to actually engage the Israeli troops. Again, like we saw with the exchange with Iran, this is a powder keg. The whole region is a powder keg right now. And the chances of this expanding into a full-scale regional war are not negligible at this moment.
West Asia on the boil, Peter Kuznick joining us on the broadcast. Thank you so much. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.